Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a powerful manifesto that puts a massive choice in front of us. Are we going to be the architects of the future, or are we going to become its relics? Let's jump right in.
So the manifesto just kicks things off with this huge question. Will we teach sand to think? And, that's not just poetry. It's a literal challenge. Can we actually take the most basic element of our entire digital world, silicon, which is, made from sand, and turn it into the foundation of real intelligence? And then, boom, there's the other side of the coin. Will we be left in the dust? This really frames the future as a stark, binary choice. There's no middle ground. Are we the builders, or are we just the fossils of a world that moved on without us? The stakes are set right from the start. Now, the manifesto argues we're at what you'd call a pivotal moment. This isn't just another small, incremental step forward. We're standing at a technological crossroads, a point where centuries of progress have suddenly made this huge choice not just possible, but absolutely necessary. Think about this line for a second. The past hasn't just led us here, it's brought us here. The whole argument is that our position right now is no accident. It's the direct result of all human invention. Every single discovery, every breakthrough, it's all been leading to this very moment. Okay, so let's really break down that choice. The absolute core of this whole thing is this powerful split between two radically different futures that are lying in wait for us. And everything, literally everything, hinges on what we decide to do right now. And here are the two paths, laid out clear as day. On one side, we actively create. We're the ones teaching sand to think, building machines that build with us as partners, and wiring the entire planet with thought. The other path? Well, it's shockingly simple. Do nothing, become irrelevant, and, get left behind in the dust. But look, this isn't just about building some cool new gadgets. The real goal, the big prize, is to completely collapse the distance between an idea and its invention. I mean, imagine the time it takes to go from a thought in your head to a real, tangible thing becoming almost zero. So the big question is, how do we actually build this future? Well, the manifesto points to three fundamental tools, a kind of new creative stack that lets us build this future layer by layer. So this is the creative stack. See how it moves? From the raw, physical materials at the very bottom, up to the more abstract intelligence, and then finally to the invisible systems that connect the whole shebang. Let's break each of these down. First up, it all starts with the physical foundation. Silicon and light. This is basically the raw hardware, the chips, the fiber optics, all the brute computational power we need to even make thinking machines possible. This is the bedrock of everything. Next, we move up the stack to the software layer. Now, this isn't about building one single, all-knowing general AI. It's about creating thousands of super specialized AI models, each one fashioned, I love that word, and expertly trained for a very specific job, whether that's medicine or art or engineering or literally anything you can imagine. And finally, you've got the infrastructure that holds it all together. These are the invisible layers. Think APIs, networks, platforms, all the stuff that allows those specialized models and all that hardware to talk to each other and work together perfectly, quietly connecting everything in the background. Now, putting all these layers together isn't just some small project. The manifesto frames this as a grand challenge for our entire civilization, one that's defined by its just mind-blowing scale and ambition. In fact, and this is a really bold claim, the manifesto says that building out this three-layered stack is the single most complex and largest-scale technical project humanity has ever attempted. I mean, think about that. Ever. So let's be super clear about what that actually means. This is not about building better apps or slightly faster computers. The opportunity right in front of us is to construct the actual infrastructure for a new kind of planetary intelligence. It's foundational work in the truest sense of the word. And this is where it gets really interesting. The narrative shifts from this huge, abstract, global idea right down to you. It becomes a direct address, a personal challenge issued to every single one of us. Right here is where the manifesto pivots and starts talking directly to you. It's reframing this massive technological shift not as something that's just happening to you, but as a huge opportunity that is waiting for you. And then it just elevates the challenge, framing it as the defining project of our generation. Just like the moon landing was the grand challenge of the 1960s, building this new foundation for intelligence, well, that's being positioned as the moonshot for right now.
And this just brings the whole thing full circle, doesn't it? The manifesto started with the threat of being left in the dust, but here it totally reclaims that image. Now it's about leaving your own footprint in the dust, a permanent mark on the future, just like the first astronauts on the moon. So, after laying out these monumental stakes, the tools we have, and the sheer scale of the challenge, the entire manifesto just boils down to this one simple, incredibly powerful declaration. It is time to build. The time for talking is over. The time for action is now.
Okay, that was a lot to chew on, so let's do a quick recap of the core ideas we've just pulled from this manifesto.
So here's the bottom line. We're at a huge inflection point with a choice. Either actively build the future or get left behind. We've got the tools, that creative stack of silicon, models, and systems. The mission is to build the very foundation for intelligence itself. And it all wraps up with a personal call to action for you to get building.
And, that really leaves us with one final thought. This manifesto doesn't just explain a possible future, it demands that you choose your role in creating it. The question really isn't if this foundation is going to be built anymore. It's what part are you going to play in building it?